So the purpose of sunshine laws in Florida or any state is to make meetings, government meetings and government proceedings open to the public at law. In other words, government's business should be done in the sunshine so that we know what's going on. So that's a very important thing, very important law. We need to be able to watch and know what our lawmakers and other government officials are doing, especially when they have meetings where they discuss matters of public policy. So sunshine laws are designed, as the term suggests, to allow sunshine, in other words light, on the proceedings, what goes on inside. And so all states have different sunshine laws. Florida's generally are fairly good. Other states are not that good. And there are exceptions when you can shut down and close meetings, and particularly when there's certain personnel matters that are being discussed. So there are exemptions from the general presumption that meetings should be open. Open record laws tend to deal with records, government documents that can be open. When it comes to open record laws, Florida is very good. However, we've been carving out exceptions over the years. So, for instance, autopsy photos, death images of death. Autopsy photos used to be presumptively open. Now, if you're a journalist, actually, they're presumptively closed, and you would have to go to court to try to show that you need these photos because they're in the public interest. Technology should actually make it much easier to obtain records. I mean, courthouse files, if you think about that, can easily be uploaded. And indeed, people can request open records, under open records laws, documents that are stored on computers. They don't have to be in paper form. So you can make a request for that. And it should be fairly easy to do a search of a database to obtain public records that way. One of the problems, though, is that sometimes government entities and officials charge a lot of money per hour based upon the time that it would take to conduct a search for that information. So that's problematic. One, the time it takes, and two, the charge, because they're going to bill you for the amount of effort it takes to do that. Now, realistically, it should be fairly easy to do a database search. And the government entities are not under any obligation to create a specific database for the documents that you seek, but they are under an obligation to search for them if they do exist. They have to do that. The other problem then is that sometimes you find government entities or officials charging large amounts of money for the copies that they make of this. So if you're a journalist seeking records that are in an electronic database, you should be able to make a request for them as long as you precisely specify, here are the documents that I want, and as long as they exist. You will be charged probably for a reasonable amount, that should be the figure, of time and effort that it takes that somebody would bill to get those. As well as if they're putting them in hard copy form, that you'd have to pay the costs for the copies, or in electronic form if they put them on like a CD-ROM or a jump drive or whatever it might be, you would have to pay for that as well. The Freedom of Information Act actually carves out for the federal level 9 specific exemptions. And so once they assert one of those specific exemptions under the FOIA laws, then that triggers something where they might not produce the entire document, or they might do what we call redacting it, where they black out or block out specific information that is affected by it. And so battles over those exemptions are also a tricky matter today. And if you really want that document, you got to be ready to fight for it. I mean, I think battles over access to government proceedings and government documents are very important, and they need to be fought by journalism organizations and nonprofit organizations. Because government, these people work for us. So, and that's one of the things I don't think that they always understand, that taxpayers pay the government officials' salaries. And so they work for us. And so therefore we should be entitled to their documents presumptively, unless there is a specific exemption that applies. And that gets lost in the shuffle, the idea that government officials actually work for us, we pay them via our taxpayer dollars, and therefore we should presumptively have access to their meetings when they discuss certain matters, as well as to their documents. And there will always be exemptions when it's a personnel matter or something of high privacy or maybe national security comes into play. But presumptively they should be open.
Okay.